Yui sipped her coffee absent-mindedly, listening to her sister Jenny's latest update. Jenny had moved back into the neighborhood a few years ago, and while they were no longer as close as they had been as children, they did their best to catch up from time to time. This time it was Jenny's turn to play the host. And Brandon's doing really well at college, Jenny boasted. He just got his first exam results back, all distinctions and high distinctions. That's great, Sue replied, smiling. Brandon always had been a high achiever, and she was glad to see her eldest nephew was getting on so well. How are things going with Ally? Jenny inquired, always keen for an update on Sue's only child. Not so well right now, I'm afraid, Sue exclaimed. You know how Ally still wets the bed. Well, I think someone at school must have found it and spread it around. Oh, how awful for her. Still, you know how it is with kids, give it a couple of weeks and they'll all be talking about something else, Jenny sympathized. To make matters worse, she's now refusing to wear her diapers to bed. The teasing has really gotten to her. Sue elaborated. I mean, I really do sympathize. There aren't many kids who still wear diapers at 17, but all that washing is really getting to me, and worst of all, her room is really starting to smell. Really? I would have thought she'd rather wake up in a wet diaper than a wet bed. Jenny commented. Deep down I think she would, but she's too upset to think it through clearly. She keeps saying that only babies wear diapers. I think she's hoping that if she doesn't wear them she'll somehow stay dry. Sounds like a real problem. Have you looked at pull-ups? Maybe she'd feel better about those. Jenny suggested. We tried them about a year ago, but they just leak right through. Ally really is a heavy wetter. Sue responded. And you've tried all the usual stuff, restricting fluids, and all that. Jenny was trying to be helpful, but Sue had been through it all before. Of course, none of it worked, Sue replied, exasperated. We even spoke to her doctor. He did a few tests, but couldn't find anything wrong. Said it was just something she'd have to outgrow, but that in the meantime she was best to wear protection. I'll bet she didn't like that, Jenny quipped. No, not at all. She doesn't even want to talk about it. Sue continued. She'll lie to me about wearing them as well, tells me that she's put them on when she hasn't. Maybe you'll just have to insist. Jenny had always been the stricter parent. Don't give her a choice. Don't let her go to bed unless she shows you that she's got them on. I've tried that as well. She just takes them off as soon as I leave the room. Jenny grimaced at Sue's last comment. Before you start, I've tried punishing her, rewarding her, nothing seems to change her mind. Did you ever go through anything like that with Dylan? Dylan was Jenny's youngest son. He was now almost 16, but his severe autism meant that he required constant care, and had never been toilet trained. Well, not the social side of it, obviously. But when he was about 3 he went through a phase where he would pull off his diapers and sift through the contents. Jenny replied. How disgusting. Sue recoiled. How did you handle it? We put his sleeper on backwards. Jenny laughed. That way he couldn't unzip it to get to his diaper. Thankfully he got past that stage in a few months. Well, I don't think that would help me much, Sue laughed along. He actually had a bit of a relapse a few years ago when we first moved in here. Not sifting through his diaper, thankfully, but taking it all off. He didn't take it well, sleeping in a new room. I guess taking off all his clothes was his way of dealing with the sensory issues, Jenny continued. How did you handle that? Sue queried. Much the same way as when he was little, actually. We did a bit of Googling, and came across these one-piece pajamas. They zip up in the back, and have this little tab that closes to stop him even getting at the zipper. He gave us hell for a few days, but settled down in the end. We actually only needed to use them for a week or so, until he'd settled in. That doesn't help me much either, Sue sighed. Ally's difficult, but I certainly couldn't do that to her, much as I might wish I could when the washing piles up. Maybe you don't have to. An idea brewed in Jenny's head. What do you mean? Sue asked, eager for a solution. I've still got Dylan's pajamas here. Maybe if you showed them to her, told her that she'd have to wear them if she didn't keep her diapers on, she'd realize you were serious even if you never do use it. Jenny suggested. If she's so against wearing diapers because they make her look babyish, I'm sure she'd find the thought of those pajamas even worse. I don't know, that might be going a bit far. Anyway, what makes you think they'd hold her? Dylan's autistic, but I'm sure Ally would figure them out. Sue wasn't keen on the idea. If it's just a threat it doesn't really matter whether they would or wouldn't. But I'm certain they would. Autism aside, Dylan's always been a little Houdini, and he never came close. Jenny explained. I still think it's a bit much, Sue replied, non-committally. Suit yourself, Sue, but whatever you do you can't just let her get away with it. I mean, laundry aside, she's been lying to you, disrespecting you, and outright refusing your instructions. Doesn't bode well for when she hits her adulthood, particularly when her father's not around to help sort her out. Heck, if she were mine, I think I'd take her over my knee. Jenny said, never being one to hold back. I think that's a bit harsh, Sue replied, offended. I can see it all from her point of view as well, and I know how upsetting it all is for her. Well, it's your decision. But take the pajamas anyway. Dylan's well and truly outgrown them, so you may as well just throw them out or donate them somewhere if you don't end up using them. Jenny retrieved the aforementioned pajamas and placed them in a bag for Sue. End of prelude.